And welcome back to the afternoon fireside chat. I'm here with Torres, Senior Vice President of Engineering for Synapse. Synapse works with clients to transform their businesses by developing new technologies and products. Who has over 2 decades of experience creating whole system approaches to problems, creating a path forward that is both technically and commercially feasible. Thanks for being here, Ann.
Thanks, it's a pleasure to be here.
So Ann, how can Synapse bring value in companies seeking a full-scale digital transformation?
Yeah, that's a really great question. Synapse really works on the physical edge of digital transformations, and one of the things we've seen is that people are very focused on what the digital transformation is and could be, and there's the digital side of it. But what in our experience in developing with different clients, we really see that developing the physical aspect of those systems is actually quite impactful on the success of those systems and the impact for the customers who actually use them. We see 3 main values when we see physical products tied to digital transformations and digital innovations. The first is really that we live in a physical world. Even if you're trying to do a digital transformation, people interact with the digital world through physical products. So creating a physical product or having hardware that allows people to connect with the transformations or the innovations you're trying to do on the digital side helps to improve your users or your customers' connectivity to what you're actually trying to create on the digital side. The second is that oftentimes part of these systems include sensors, and sensors are really important to be able to collect the data, and so that physical aspect of these systems is incredibly important in order to create value for your end customers. And oftentimes, if you can do something that's custom, you're not just buying something off the shelf, you're actually creating something that's differentiated. It allows you to potentially get into different markets, bring in new customers, and then keep yourself ahead of the rest of the markets because other people will have to develop something as well, not just buy something off the shelf. And then the last part of value that you can see by connecting your digital transformations to some physical development is really around some of the efficiencies that you can develop, which help the ROI and the investment that you're creating in order to bring this value to your business and your company. And what I really mean by that is how you're able to choose the right systems like sensors or design the right components so that your product can be scalable, so that your product can be realizable, so that you can actually measure something that potentially couldn't have been measured before, and that you can proliferate your physical or your digital systems to more people and more places than you might have just by choosing the right set of physical components to it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Can you share a use case of a consumer or industrial application that's enabling and helping a customer transform into a digital world?
Yeah, I'd love to. So like I said previously, Synapse really lives on working in the edge of the physical world, and as a way for us to work within the help people realize digital transformations, and that's a lot of the work that we do. We have multidisciplinary teams that come together to solve these challenging problems. And what we see is there are 2 ways that people can realize some of these some value within these transformations. And the first is really around operational efficiency. And you see this really being useful, especially in an industrial application for IoT. And we have a customer that we've worked with, Cutsforth, who is in the energy generation space. So they have large generators that end up having brushes, which is how energy is transferred from the generator into their power systems. And they partnered with Synapse in order to create these new brushes. They wanted to put those brushes to get connectivity to those individual brushes, and their business model was really about replacing those individual brushes. They wanted to connect those and have them be connected devices so that they could monitor the usage and have a better sense of when they needed to replace those brushes. Well, in working with us, they not only changed that particular product, but they actually transformed their whole business and their whole business model from looking at just being a commodity piece of hardware to actually a service where they could see and monitor how their brushes and their systems were performing, and then proactively decide when it was time to change individual brushes. The interesting part about that is we were able to pull together and understand what the investment cost would be, because we knew that they had to not only create this interconnected system and a way for each of these devices to communicate and decide when these brushes should be changed, but we also had to help them create the actual sensors and devices. And so that included us understanding security and product design and working in having these systems work in challenging environments. And so with our experience, we were able to give them a very good sense of what the development costs would be so that they could make an adequate ROI assessment, which is oftentimes the challenge in these types of products when you're going for operational efficiency.
So how would a developer or maker that's watching right now, how would they contact you or get in touch with your company to help them on the edge like this?
Yeah, so that's a great question. We've been doing a lot of work. You can find our work online at synapse.com. We've worked with STMicro quite a bit. We are development partners with them. We're really excited about what they've been doing with the ML Core products, and really the ML Core products allows there to be computation that happens within their sensor systems, which reduce the overall power draw and computation needed for MCUs that are used in some of these systems that we can help develop. And we not only understand what products that ST is working on now, but we also understand and work with them to see what products they're working on in their roadmap. So when people come to us and they need help trying to decide what architecture or what products or what solutions they want for their products, we can help them design their current products, but also understanding STMicro and what their product line looks like. We can help them enable and think about what our clients' future roadmaps could look like as well.
Interesting. And so just kind of a I don't know, philosophical or architectural high-level question, how do you see, we live on the edge computing that is. How do you see the next 10, 20 years? How is this, the sensor node and the microcontroller out on the edge, how do you see that evolving? You see it becoming more and more critical, especially at the sensor level with these machine learning cores? Yeah.
So what we've seen is that more and more people want to have some type of engagement in the digital world, and so people are developing more and more connected devices. And to your point, there are people who are very interested in making sure that they can run on the edge, whether it's a wearable or it's a small device or something in your home that's less obtrusive. And so I think the future is seeing more of these, but finding ways in which these systems and products that we create are more, they're more ubiquitous, but also less obtrusive for us. And so all of this work that we're doing to try to reduce the size, the computational power, and thus the battery powers is really kind of what the future of all of this type of work is about.
I think we're totally aligned on that. Well, thanks, Lynn, for joining us. Really appreciate your time and enlightening us on your business model.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. It was great.